Welcome to the Immigration Therapist Podcast, a podcast for therapists that want to learn about immigration evaluations and for immigration attorneys. On today's episode, I want to talk about the difference between regular therapy and immigration evaluations, assessments. There's a major difference between these two. The first thing is that a lot of attorneys call these, they talk to clients about doing immigration evaluations, and they tell, clients, you have to go see a therapist for sessions for therapy. So when clients call us, they often say, well, my attorney told me to, I have to come to therapy and blah, 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 because I need an immigration evaluation. And I always explain to them, this isn't therapy. This is an assessment. And obviously, no offense, attorneys, this isn't a slide against you, but, there's a difference. One thing is therapy. Another thing is an assessment. And actually, I'm even going to open up a third tier here. A third thing is immigration and immigration assessment. There's a major difference between these. And the reason is that regular therapy, a client will come to therapy to talk about, an issue, presenting, a chief complaint, a presenting problem of maybe being anxious, depressed, having marital issues, or whatever. So they seek us with the intention of, seeking an emotional problem, seeking to resolve an emotional problem. They want to talk about solutions. They want to talk about how to feel better. They want to be heard. They want to feel validated. For the most part, they understand that their problem is not going to be solved within a day or two. But they're ready for therapy. Again, for my social workers out there, the stages of treatment, right? Which is pre-contemplation, contemplation, and the other ones that I really can't remember right now. But regular therapy is that clients come to us because they're seeking relief, they're seeking to talk about their problems. And the process of therapy is very organic. It's very natural. There's no rush. We're not interrupting clients so that we're speaking over them. We're listening to them, hopefully. We're listening. We're paying attention. We're actively listening. So that's regular therapy, right? There's no expiration date. On the other hand, assessments have an expiration date. Immigration evaluations have a purpose. Clients are coming to us because they want to have a document. They want to have an assessment done. They want to have a document, a final report explaining our assessment, explaining, everything that the attorney is asking for so they can turn it into the attorney. So in a way, there's a sense of urgency. There's a underlying tone of urgency because there is an urgency. They're anxious to get their immigration process filed. A lot of these people are facing deportation, or they have a deadline, for example, that they need to get the case in by a certain date. So there's a sense of urgency, and when it comes to immigration evaluations. Not to mention that a lot of clients that come I'd say honestly, like 99% of clients that come looking for an immigration evaluation, they've either never done therapy or they've done it before, but they're really not open to the therapy aspect. They are, like I said, they're looking to get a document done so that they can present it to their attorney and get their case going. So these are two separate types of clients, even in the way that they approach you, in the way that they call, how often they contact you. There's just two different profiles. And I have my front desk, when I was training them, I use a VA company. And I remember when I was training them, I told them, you're going to know right off, the get-go, who are your therapy clients and who are your immigration clients, because just the way that they speak. There's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of confusion as well, because a lot of them, like I explained in the previous podcast episode, a lot of them don't really know what they need. They just know, hey, my attorney told me to call you because I need to get a letter done. You know, they call it a letter, by the way. They hardly call it an immigration evaluation. So, there's a sense of urgency. There's a legal sense to what they're saying. There's a legal sense to the tone of your interactions. Um, and like I was saying, these clients that call for immigration evaluations, it's not about therapy. A lot of them actually a little even disgruntled because they don't understand why they need to do therapy for an immigration case. Some of these clients are contacting a therapist for the very first time. For Brazilians, in Brazil, there's this taboo about therapy. There's even a saying, that terapia é para doido, which means therapy is for crazy people. So a lot of these clients they're calling for the first time, and they don't understand why they have to contact a therapist in the first place. So it's our job again to accommodate them, ease them, soothe them, meet them where they are. Again, it's very client centered. Meet them where they are, but also understand the urgency of the matter. I typically don't treat an immigration client like I treat a therapy client. And everything that I'm explaining here, I always explain on the first session. I have a little pitch. I use a little spiel, like I go down a list. It's almost like I have this narrative written in my mind that I tell a client within the first 15 minutes of session, of the first session. I go through the little checklist. I go through my HIPAA. I go through the HIPAA law. I talk about how I'm a mandated reporter. I talk about, we talk about their immigration case very briefly so I can assure them that I know, what they need from me. And I go through this list. I explain the main difference between regular therapy versus an immigration evaluation. I apologize in advance to them, and I say, look, unfortunately, I apologize in advance. I am going to need to cut you off just because I need to keep you on track, and we have a deadline. There's a point to what we're doing here, so I want to keep you on track. I would never start off a therapy client this way ever, by within the first 15 minutes telling them, hey, by the way, you're going to be sharing about your trauma, but I'm going to be interrupting you because we have stuff to do. I would never do that, obviously, because it's two separate settings, tones, presenting problems, an overall goal. Just to reiterate and sum up, therapy clients are different. They're more, I want to say flowy. They go with the flow more. They're more compliant in that sense with the therapeutic process. Now, immigration clients are not very, I wouldn't say not very compliant with the immigration, with the therapeutic process. But for the reasons that I explained, it's not about therapy with them. It's about completing their report, completing the analysis, explaining that you're going to get the report for them as soon as you can. I mean, of course, we give them the deadline, and yeah. So it's about the urgency of their immigration case. So with immigration clients, it's rarely about you. It's rarely about the therapeutic dynamic between the therapist and the client. It's about the client understanding that you are being a catalyst. You are a catalyst to finishing the requirements of their immigration case. So, in a way, there's that kind of like underlying tone, underlying pressure of, hey, my attorney's waiting for your document. I hear this all the time from immigration clients. Everything's done. We're all just waiting on you, even though we just started therapy right now, right this second, but I understand what they mean. They're not, it's not an insult towards the therapist. It's them explaining, hey, I have an immigration case. I am running the risk of being deported, or my wife, my mom, my dad, And everything's done, and we're just waiting on your report in order to apply for the case, to send everything off to immigration. So I'd say that that's the main difference between an immigration session for an evaluation versus a therapy client. So as long as you understand that, I think that's half the job, actually. That's half of it, understanding the differences of those two clients. So thank you very much for listening. I hope I clarified that. And don't forget to check us out on our social media platforms. On centerforimmigrationevaluations.com and Instagram. Let's see if I get this right. Probably going to butcher it. I'm not going to look. I'm actually going to say it without looking. Immigration_center_evaluations. Oh, nope. I butchered that. Of course I did. So this just shows you how much, how much time I spend on social media. So my social media, my Instagram is immigration_evaluations_center. You can find us by, looking at the logo. It's the first thing that comes up. So immigration_evaluations_center. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next week.